Hi, welcome back to Alternative Smallholding. I'm Jazz, and today I thought we would run through some seeds that you can sow in January. Now it's worth noting that the dates that I'm talking about in terms of sowing seeds in January is because we are in the UK now. I'm in the centre of the UK, but if you are from somewhere else in the world or further up north even, say in Scotland, then your sowing times may vary slightly. So it's always worth if you're further up north or in a colder environment, then it's worth giving it a few extra weeks before you put those seeds in. Now, it is January the 4th today, I believe, and as soon as we clicked over to that 1st of January, I've seen so many people online saying, what seeds can I grow? I'm itching, I need to get growing, I need to get my hands in the soil. And I absolutely associate with that. I feel it myself. And I think you'll be pleased to know that there are quite a number of seeds that you can start off in January. Different ones need different conditions, but I'm going to talk you through a few of them now, and hopefully you'll be off starting your seeds for the 2019 growing year really soon. So let's have a look at what we're going to split this into two types of seeds that you can grow. The first section is going to be flowers, and then the second section is going to be vegetables and herbs. So the flowers that we can grow, these are ones that need long growing seasons or are very tolerant to the cold, basically. So the first ones that we've got, and these are all from different seed sources. I don't tend to have one seed supply that I buy everything from, and over time I've accumulated all sorts of different bits and bobs. So these are all different seed suppliers. So the first ones that we've got are antherithum, or commonly known as snapdragon, because I can't pronounce the proper word. This variety is Brighton Rock, and these ones are to be sown indoors in January to March. These ones don't need to be in a heated propagator, but they do need to be in a consistent temperature. So indoors on a sunny windowsill is the best place for them. You put these on moist, well-drained compost, but you do not cover the seed up. So typically when you sow seeds, you will put vermiculite or compost back over the top of them, but these ones you don't. And these take between 10 and 21 days to germinate. Now this is the only packet of sweet peas I could find, but I know I've got lots of different sweet peas. I had them out a couple of weeks ago and I've put them in a safe place. I don't know where they are now, but sweet peas are perfect to be sown at this time of year. They're really, really cold tolerant, and they do well because they grow quite slowly, so long as they've got a good light source. Now the challenge at this time of year is the fact that we don't have much heat, and we also don't have good light levels. We have gone past the shortest day of the year, and the days are getting longer as we go, but it's by minutes or seconds. So right now the big challenge is light. So to stop these going leggy, you do need to make sure that they're in a south-facing window or in a heated greenhouse or frost-free greenhouse. I typically sow my sweet peas into toilet roll inners, and I fill that with compost. If you get them too wet, they do have a tendency to go mouldy, so just make sure that they're not overly soaked, but obviously they do need to be wet to germinate. Some people soak their sweet pea seeds overnight to give them a head start. I haven't found it makes any difference either way, to be honest, but sweet peas, they're another good one for growing now. Another seed that you can grow now that I actually don't have to show you, but dahlias are brilliant to be started off in January. Now they tend to be more of the daisy type dahlias rather than the big cactus varieties that you can grow from seed now, but they will form a good tuber by the end of the season that you can actually dig up then, and you can save it for next year. So just by starting a few seeds now, you will have plants that you can use for years to come. Now these two next seeds, these are seeds that typically are said to be sown in February, but I start them now in January because I find them a little bit temperamental, to be honest. And they are Cleome, colour fountain, also known as spider flower, and bergamot or monarda, which is an ornamental bergamot. The bees love both of these flowers, and I do grow them for pollinators, but what I really like about them is they have really gorgeous scented leaves that in the sun warms up and it gives this lovely heady smell. But they're both stunning plants. The cleome is an annual, so you need to sow that every year, and the bergamot is a perennial, and it's a hardy perennial, so you can leave it where it is. This year my chickens ate all of mine, so I'm sowing them again, so I'll be growing some new ones of those. Now, these ones are best to be started in compost and covered with what the packets will say is under glass. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to do it out in a greenhouse. What it means is that you need a clear propagator lid. I'll show you that just now. Now, you don't have to sow your seeds into a tray of compost. I find that sometimes when I'm not growing a lot of one variety of seed, that this just seems like a waste. Now, you can get, say, half trays and half lids to go on them as well. But what I do when I'm growing a few of one variety is I do them in pots. So I stand my pots in here and I fill this up with different sizes, different varieties depending on what I'm growing, and then one of these will class as under glass. They put it on there, and what I do then every day is I tend to lift it up and just let the air circulate a little bit. But with the cleome and bergamot, the cleome specifically is very difficult to germinate, and you can sow, say, 30 seeds and you may only get 10 plants. Now that is normal, don't be surprised. They take a long time to germinate, so don't give up on them. But what I do with cleome is I sow them and then I put them on my heated propagator mat with a lid on, and then I take them out and then I put them back in, and I do that over a period of a month. And then eventually by the end of that we will have a better germination rate. I find that if I leave them just in the heat, then they don't do so well, and if I leave them out they don't do so well. They seem to need that varying temperature to get them going. Your bergamot, you could grow it in a little pot and then prick them out as you could. If you grew them in a seed tray like this rather than individual seed modules, then you could sow them and then prick them out. If you sow them into a little pot like this, you put several seeds in there, then what you could do is take out the weakest of the plants and then plant that whole pot into another pot, potting it on as the plant gets bigger. Another flower that a lot of people grow now is delphinium. Now, I don't actually grow delphinium because I find that the slugs eat it a lot, and we're organic so we don't use slug pellets. But if you do like delphiniums, then you could start them now in January. So that's all the flowers that are best to start in January. Now we're going to get on to the herbs and the vegetables. So, we all know that we can grow onions, and these are red onions, and this was a free packet of seeds that Rue got from Gardens World Live. But if you look back to our videos from last week, Rue actually did a video on how to sow onions with our Grow with Rue series. So I'm going to pop a link about that below. So onions, look at Grow with Rue. Things that need starting pretty early in the season because they've got a long growing season are aubergines and chilies. Now, I don't actually have a packet of branded chilies, but these are some of my heirloom chilies that I've been sent, and they're firecracker and they're very, very hot. And these are aubergine Black Beauty. Now, they need a very long growing season, and when you grow them you will need to grow them in a heated propagator because they need that bottom heat to get them started, and you need to give them good light as well, otherwise your plants will get leggy. But if you have a heated greenhouse or you have a heated propagator that can go in a nice sunny window, then get those started now. If you find that you don't have anywhere that you could grow these, then it may be best to buy them as plug plants or as little starter plants from a garden centre. But I would recommend giving them a go. For a few seeds, it's worth a shot, isn't it? Aubergines is going to be a first for us this year. Never grown aubergine. But we're going to give them a go, and they're going to be started off this week. So aubergines and chilies, they need a long growing season, so they're best to be started in January. Cauliflowers. Cauliflowers can be grown in January for a crop that is for early summer. and then what we do is then we will sow another lot of cauliflowers, and we will grow them from, say, April or May, so that we've got a succession of them throughout the year. But cauliflower, especially the variety all year round, is really good for starting off in January. Now, they don't need bottom heat. Brassicas don't really like bottom heat. It's good to start brassicas off in something like this, just a pot. Put your seeds in, and then as they grow you can prick them out and pot them on. But I find growing some in January to be a really good tip for an early cauliflower crop. They tend to be quite winter hardy as well, so you don't need that bottom heat like I said, but good little crop to grow now. Spring onions, brilliant for salads, and they're a really good thing to start now on your windowsill, on your kitchen windowsill in an unheated greenhouse. They will be slow because onions are at this time of year, that's normal, but by doing this you get a nice early crop of your spring onions for on your salads. Typically it doesn't say that you can sow onion seeds. If you look on your packet, spring onions, they will say probably from March or April to sow, but if you're doing them indoors and they are protected, then you can get a good head start. What I do with them is I sow them into modules, so I sow 4 or 5 seeds in one module and then plant them out as a bunch. Then when they're ready to harvest, I harvest that whole bunch, and I found that they do better that way. Herbs that you can grow now, one of them is parsley and another one is basil. Now basil will need a bottom heat to start it, so you will need a heated propagator and a protected environment. Parsley pretty much will grow in just a consistent room temperature, so they're a good one to get started now. Now these next two, you can really probably grow them all year round as long as you've got a nice consistently warm environment and a good sunny windowsill. And one is cress, and we got these seeds from a farm open day that we went to, but I love cress on my egg sandwiches and on salad and that. It's essentially it's a microgreen. It's very nutritious and very good for you, and you can grow them in just a little pot and put a pot like that on your windowsill, crop it as you need it, sow it over and over again. They're great for that. Or if you've got a little seed tray, this is my favourite blend of salad leaves from Penard Plants. I absolutely love this. And you can just sprinkle them over a little seed tray, pop it on your window so you'll keep it moist, and they will grow. And you can use them as cut and come again as well, or just pick individual leaves out, and you can grow that virtually all year round. So that's a top tip. Grow your salad and your cress all year round. Now another plant that a lot of people talk about starting off in January is tomatoes. Now I personally don't start my tomatoes until mid-February, and the reason is because I find that if I do, then they get too leggy. Now leggy means that the plants grow very tall and thin rather than being stocky and good healthy plants. Now if you have a growing environment where they're getting plenty of light and they've got a consistent heated temperature, then you're probably okay. I know that some people build little grow rooms to start their tomatoes off in, but really I think it's better to wait to get healthier, stockier plants. I wouldn't start them in January. I've done it before. It wasn't worth it. It just wasted the seed. The plants wasn't healthy enough, and they never did well when they were planted outside eventually anyway. One last tip for starting to sow your seeds is something I picked up from Jess at Roots and Refuge, and this is washi tape. Most people, they don't use all of their seeds in one go, so you end up with a torn seed packet, and I've had myself where these packets inside, they fall out, and because they're not typically named themselves, then you lose them. Washi tape is a paper tape, if I can find the end. So what you can do is stick that end down, and because it's a paper tape, you can peel it off and stick it back down again over and over, and you don't lose any seeds. So that's my top tip for your seeds for 2019. So I hope you found this useful. There are quite a few seeds that you can start off in January, but I think the main thing to consider is, do you have the windowsill space? Do you have a consistent heat source? And for those that need it, do you have a heated propagator or a heat mat that you can give them that good start off? If you don't have that, then it may be worth waiting just a little while longer so they can have the best start that they can have. Gradually the light levels will increase. Thank goodness. Spring is on the way, and each month I'm going to do a video of what you can sow for that month. So what I want to do is I want to do that at the end of the previous month. So at the end of January you will get a video as what you can sow in February, and there is a lot you can start in February. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful and found some tips on what you can grow in January this year. Let's beat the winter blues, let's get some seeds started, and I hope that they all grow brilliant for you. All the best. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.